will be showing you guys how to do my mockups from scratch. You will be watching the whole process. I just hit 6 figures. You can just see how amazing and real it's looking already. And the most important thing when it comes to starting the process of doing mockups, and it's yo, what do you do, guys? It's Ethan with another video. Today's video I'm gonna be more than just a blog. I will be showing you guys how to do my mockups from scratch. You will be watching the whole process from just sketching to final touches and everything. Sorry. I will go for a cut since I need a new look for Paris and Tokyo. So yeah, guys, you will be watching everything I do. So yeah, just stay at the end of the video if you wanna be watching the whole process from doing mockups. I actually just picked up my camera, but I just forgot the ESD card, so I'm just cooked as fuck. I was actually just checking my Shopify store. I just hit 6 figures in the last year. I just hit it today. Today's revenue, it's 500 euros at 1 p.m. So yeah, that's actually great. And next thing, it's 7 figures. Let's get it.
Madre mía, es que...
Okay guys, so I just have my cut done. Just let me know down below what you think about it. I really like it. Okay guys, so I just got home, and before starting with the whole process of doing my mockups, I just want to talk about the most important thing when it comes to starting the process of doing mockups, and it's gathering inspiration and gathering some ideas. I usually just do that by just scrolling on my page on Instagram or even Pinterest, you can just go out there and check some pieces people are wearing. Write down everything that it comes to your mind, any idea that comes to your mind, everything, just write it down. So yeah, just make sure to not copy others' designs exactly the same. Something super important when making mockups or making any design, it's that you can give your own touch to it. So that's something I really like to do, and it's something I've been doing for the past weeks in my Instagram. You can just check it out, and it's finding an image like a mockup, like a real piece I like, and then I redesigning my own, like changing the panels, changing some details, or just changing the colors, adding my own touch to it. And I think that's something super important when it comes to be a creative, like a designer or clothing brand owner, whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to talk to you about this first before starting with the whole process of the tutorial. So yeah, you can also find some inspiration in my Instagram profile from recent designs I've been doing. You can also tag me in your creations when doing mockups if you made with this tutorial, and I will be checking them out and following you guys. So yeah, you can also check my recent designs for some inspiration. You will have my Instagram profile in the description. So yeah, just let's start with the tutorial. Okay guys, so for doing high quality designs, I usually just take the 4K resolution when doing new canvas. And also you can find into the actions in canvas tool the crop and resize option, where you will be able to do the canvas itself smaller or bigger. But be careful, because the smaller or the bigger you do, the less or more layers you are able to work with. So let's start by adding our reference image to do our mockup. And something super important when I always do mockups, it's find the option drawing guide. That helps so much, and then just press the edit drawing guide, and we will find different options, but the one we will be using is the symmetry one. By pressing on it, you will find kind of a reference line that you can just put into the middle of your mockup. I will just continue it by going to the layers again, and I will just fix the opacity of the reference image a bit down, and we will make a new layer. In that layer we will set the drawing assist, and by doing that we will fix in the mirror effect. That will be super important. So I will just take my mockup tracer brush that you can find in the link of my bio in my site. I will just follow all the lines of my mockup just by drawing everything, all the lines, all the details and stuff. And whenever I have my mockup finished, something super important is doing a duplicate layer of the one we just did all the mockup lines, and by doing that we will be able to apply all the colors and stuff, and also the textures I will be showing you later. As you can see, I just had an error of my mockup and I didn't connect all the lines, so we can just go back into the underneath layer and just fix the line correctly, and that way we will be just able to fill it again without even a problem. So I will just paint on my mockup, and also you can just select a normal brush or wherever and just paint all the details, like those kind of empty places I had. So once I have all the color added, I will just find for some textures. You can also find my personal ones in my site. So whenever I just save my textures and I have all my textures I want to work with, we'll just go back into Procreate again, and I will just import by adding photo. I will just find the textures and I will just import into the mockup, and I will make a clipping mask into the underneath layer we added color to it. We can make the clipping mask just by clicking into the layer and fixing clipping mask, and next thing we'll be playing with the fusion mode colors, and you can see on screen I usually just take overlay or soft light as an option. In my case, you can see the texture is kind of a half tone, so I will add Gaussian blur. You can see an adjustment you can easily find, and I will just add it just a bit so the texture itself gets a bit smoother, and I will just add some more textures to have a more realistic look. In that case, I will just pick the overlay one. You can see how realistic it's looking already. And next step will be doing a new layer. In that layer we will fix again as a clipping mask, because we're going to add some shadows and lights. I usually just take my denim texture as a brush, and also make sure to activate the drawing assist option, so that way it will be so much easier for us. So I will just take the size and the opacity a bit down of my brush, and I will just do all the shadows and lights from my mockup, and I really recommend you to just play around and make whatever you think looks good. I usually just take the inner parts as a shadow, and I just do some details as a highlight lights. So next thing for doing that lights and shadows more smooth will be adding a Gaussian blur. You can just find it in the adjustments tool and just add as much as you think that looks good. That will be almost everything for the shadows and lights. You can also play around and make some new layers, and you can see on screen how different it's looking already without textures and shadows and lights and just the plain mockup. It's really amazing how creative and how freedom you are by just using the brushes, textures and all the stuff I'm selling on my site. You can also find your own, but I'm just trying to make your thing easier by just selling my assets. Okay, so next thing we'll be making a new layer and also fixing the drawing assist, and we will be making the stitch. In my case, I will just select the cross stitch, and I will just make sure the size is not that high, and I will just make all the stitch as I think. You can also be free to check some real pieces, how the stitching are made. Something you can also do is combine different stitching brushes and different lines, and that way it will be looking even more realistic. You can just be free, you can just test out different things, and you can just see on screen how good it looks to combine different stitches and brushes. Next thing will be doing a duplicate layer of our stitches, and we will be making the stitches black by doing hue, saturation and brightness, and turn the layer into the most dark part. Then select the layer and move it a bit down, then go back again into the top layer of the white stitches and turn the opacity a bit down. By doing that, we will be adding a drop shadow effect. Okay, so for doing the cuffs, I usually just take this vertical stitch brush, and I will just follow the steps by doing a new layer and set the drawing assist on, and I will just make a line and I will just deform it with the move tool. I don't know how it's even called, but yeah, you can just see on screen how I usually do. And something super important when using the brushes is that you can actually be free and be creative to use however you want. As you can see on screen, it's just a vertical stitch, and I usually just use to make some cuffs. Just make sure also to delete the parts that are going out of your mockup, so that way when you turn into a transparent background, it will be looking like more solid. Okay, remember the duplicate layer we made of our lines of your mockup? Just make a new duplicate layer and set that into white and fix into a clipping mask, and also set the fusion mode into overlay, and that way it will be adding kind of a highlight of the whole mockup. It's something I always do. You can just do it or not, but I'm just showing how I usually just do all the steps when doing mockups. Next thing will be selecting the 3D distressing brushes. I will just select that one to show you how I usually just made it look realistic, and I will just set any place you can see, and I will select the white color for doing that. I will duplicate the layer, and I will follow all the steps we made before. I will just set it into black. I will just move it a bit down to make a drop shadow effect, and I will go into the first layer we had, and I will just turn the opacity a bit down. That way it will be looking so much realistic that you can even think it's real. Next thing will be adding kind of stars, and I will be adding like an embroidered effect, and I will just start by selecting some of the textures I used before for the base of the mockup. I will follow all the steps by doing a clipping mask, and I will just play around with the fusion modes and opacity to make it look realistic. And you can just see everything is just by following all the steps and just knowing all the bases, like playing with clipping mask, with opacities and stuff. And yeah, you can just see on screen I will just made all the steps we made before. I will go into the layers, and I will just make a new duplicate layer of our base image. I will just turn into black, and I will just move it a bit down. Okay, so in that case I will set also a Gaussian blur. You can just set the Gaussian for big shapes like that one, like the stars, because I'm going through all these leaves. And yeah, you can just see how it looks with and without. And next thing we'll be starting with the stitching and embroidered effect. I will just select again the cross stitching brush. I will just trace all the stars by itself. Okay, now that I have all the stitching traced, I will just follow all the steps. I will duplicate the layer, set into black. I will just move it a bit down. I will go into the layers, and I will set the white one a bit down when it comes to the opacity. And yeah, you can just see how amazing and real it's looking already. And next thing, we'll be making a new layer, and in that layer I will just set into clipping mask. I will choose a dark color and a soft brush, and I will just make some shadows by myself, so that way it's looking even more realistic. You can also add some more textures and also some more lights. You can just be free to do wherever you think that will look good. I will go back into my personal brushes that you can find in my site, and I will select the distressing embroidered effect that I will add into the stars also. I will just follow the steps by doing all the strokes and everything, and I will set into a fusion mode. In that case it will be overlay. I think that way it was looking good. So yeah, I just had all my embroidered and stitching stars. I think it's looking good, so I will just flatten all together. Make sure to have a duplicate layer in case you want to go back and edit some stuff. So I will make a mask into the layer itself, and I will just paint into the parts I want to turn off. You can just see on screen I made with the mockup tracer brush, but you can just use whatever brush you think you're feeling comfortable with it. So that's almost everything when it comes to make a mockup realistic, and I will just show how to make a back part of a mockup. Just select the base traced mockup layer we did at the start, and just set into a new document and erase that part that you want to be off by using the drawing assist layer, and just paint the extra parts that are in the back and not in the front. So yeah, just follow all the steps we made before. That'd be almost everything when it comes to a tutorial on how to do my mockups and everything. I hope this video helped you. I'm just trying to help you elevate your design skills and your mockups. If you have any questions, just let me know down below in comments. I will be checking them out and answering everything. I would appreciate if you leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.